Dear students, welcome to the lecture number 21 of biopharmaceutics and pharmacokinetic, and the topic for today's lecture is bioequivalence studies. Okay. So, first of all, what is bioequivalence? That I have already discussed in the previous lectures. What is bioavailability, what is bioequivalence. So, if a new product is intended to be a substitute for an approved medicinal product or a pharmaceutical equivalent or a pharmaceutical alternative, then its equivalence with the product should be shown or should be justified. Okay. मीन्स अगर हम एक नए प्रोडक्ट को एक ऑलरेडी अप्रूव्ड ड्रग और ऑलरेडी मार्केटेड ड्रग के सब्सटीट्यूट के फॉर्म में लेना चाहते हैं या उसके फार्मास्यूटिकल अल्टरनेटिव यूज़ करना चाहते हैं, उसे एज ए फार्मास्यूटिकल सब्सटीट्यूट यूज़ करना चाहते हैं, तो हमें उस प्रोडक्ट की इक्विवेलेंस को जस्टिफाई करना होता है या उसको शो करना होता है, तभी हम उसको इक्विवेलेंट ले सकते हैं. तो इस तरीके से उसके क्लिनिकल परफॉर्मेंस को इंश्योर करना है. इन ऑर्डर टू इंश्योर द क्लिनिकल परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ सच ड्रग प्रोडक्ट वी हैव टू कंडक्ट द बायोइक्विवेलेंस स्टडीज. Okay, so bioequivalence studies are conducted if there is a risk of bio-inequivalence or there is a risk of pharmacotherapeutic failure or there is a risk of diminished clinical safety. Okay. We are having two or three terms that are related to the bioequivalence. We can have chemical equivalence, we can have pharmaceutical equivalence, we can have therapeutic equivalence. So, first is the chemical equivalence or chemical bioequivalence. Now, what is the meaning of this chemical equivalence? This chemical equivalence indicates that two or more drug products contain the same labeled chemical substance as an active ingredient in the same amount. Okay, मीन्स अगर दो या दो से ज़्यादा ड्रग प्रोडक्ट के अंदर आपका सेम केमिकल यूज़ हो रहा है, सेम केमिकल इंग्रेडिएंट यूज़ हो रहा है, सेम अमाउंट में यूज़ हो रहा है वो एक्टिव इंग्रेडिएंट, देन वी कैन से दीज टू आर केमिकली इक्विवेलेंट. Okay, अगर दो ड्रग प्रोडक्ट्स के अंदर आपका सेम केमिकल इंग्रेडिएंट यूज़ हो रहा है, सेम अमाउंट में यूज़ हो रहा है, तो हम उन दोनों ड्रग प्रोडक्ट्स को केमिकली इक्विवेलेंट कह सकते हैं. Okay, next term is the pharmaceutical equivalence. What is the pharmaceutical equivalence? When the equivalence is related to the with respect to the pharmaceutical parameters. Okay, this pharmaceutical equivalence implies that two or more drug products are identical in strength, quality, purity, content uniformity and disintegration and dissolution characteristics. They can differ in their different excipients, then we can say these are pharmaceutical equivalent. Okay. Means if two or more drug products are of same strength, quality is same, their purity is same, in the dosage form content uniformity is same, that is disintegration time, the dissolution time, the all characteristics are identical. Okay. But they can differ in their excipients. The excipients can be different, but their pharmaceutical parameters, okay, the quality, purity, content uniformity or disintegration and dissolution criteria, if they are same, then we can say these drug products are pharmaceutically equivalent. Okay. Now, next term is the therapeutic equivalence. What is the meaning of therapeutic equivalence? If two or more drug products contain the same therapeutic active ingredient and that is producing the identical pharmacological effect, then we can say these are the therapeutical equivalent. Okay. तो थेराप्यूटिक इक्विवेलेंस का मतलब क्या है? अगर दो प्रोडक्ट्स आपके उन दोनों प्रोडक्ट्स के अंदर एक्टिव इंग्रेडिएंट सेम है, थेराप्यूटिक एक्टिव इंग्रेडिएंट है, दैट इज द सेम and they are also producing the same pharmacological effect and up to the same extent also, then we can say these two dosage form or these two drug products are therapeutically equivalent. Okay. So, there are three types of equivalent: pharmaceutical equivalence, chemical equivalence and the therapeutic equivalence. In the chemical equivalence, two or more drug products contain the same chemical ingredient. Okay. In the pharmaceutical equivalent, the two or more drug products contain the same parameters, same pharmaceutical parameter, their strength, their content uniformity, their quality, their dissolution and disintegration parameters are same, but they can differ in excipients also. Okay. In the therapeutic equivalence, two or more drug products contain the same therapeutic active ingredient, but they can produce the identical pharmacological effect and they can control the disease up to the same extent, then they can be called as the therapeutically equivalent. Okay. So, these are the terms that are related to the bioequivalence. Now, coming on the types of bioequivalence studies, we can have two different types of bioequivalence. First is the in vivo and second one is the in vitro studies. Okay. First is the in vivo bioequivalence studies. Now, the following sequence of criteria is useful for the assessment of the need of in vivo studies, and the first is the oral immediate release product with the systemic action. Whenever we want to conduct the in vivo bioequivalence study, then we can have three parameters. First is the oral immediate release product with systemic action. Second is the non-oral immediate release product, non-oral immediate release product. Third is the modified release product. Modified release product. Okay. So, whenever we are going to assess the in vivo bioequivalence study, then we have to conduct in the following sequence. First is the oral immediate release product with the systemic action, second category is non-oral immediate release product with systemic action, and third one is the modified release product with systemic action. Okay. And these in vivo bioequivalence studies are conducted in the usual manner as we have discussed in the bioavailability studies, means using the pharmacokinetic method and the pharmacodynamic method. In the pharmacokinetic method, we are having two approaches, that is the plasma level time studies and the urinary excretion study, and in the pharmacodynamic approach there is acute pharmacological response and the therapeutic response. Okay. So, this is all about the in vivo bioequivalence study. Now, in vitro bioequivalence study, if the criteria for the oral immediate release product with the systemic action or non-oral immediate release product or modified release product, it does not meet. If any of the above criteria is not applicable, then we have to conduct the in vitro bioequivalence studies. Okay. In vitro studies means the dissolution studies can be used in place of in vivo bioequivalence studies in certain circumstances. For example, the biowaivers, these are called as the biowaivers. Okay. The drug product that differs only in the strength of the active substance, then it contains certain parameters. For example, the pharmacokinetics are linear, the qualitative composition is the same, the ratio between the active substances and the excipients are the same. Okay. The both products are obtained from the same manufacturer at the same production site, bioavailability or bioequivalence study has been performed with the original product, then in these cases the in vitro bioequivalence studies should be conducted. Okay. So, these are the following elements of the bioequivalence study protocol. So, first element of the bioequivalence study protocol is the title. In the first title, the title should be appropriate and should be specified and the principal investigator. The study director will play the role of principal investigator, that will initiate the process, that will organize the total event, that will control the whole process. And next is the project or protocol number and date. The date, the project number or the protocol number should be specified appropriately. Second point is the study objective. Now, what is the objective of the study, what is the purpose of the study, that should be properly mentioned. Next is the study design, means which type of study design is used, non replicate study design is used or the parallel design is used, replicate design is used. We can have different types of design, the standard bioequivalent study design or the alternate bioequivalent study design. Okay. The standard bioequivalent study design can be known as the non replicate design. The alternate bioequivalent study design can be categorized in the parallel design, in the replicate design, or we can have partial replicates or full replicates. Okay. So, which type of design is opted, that should be properly mentioned. Next is the drug product. Okay. Drug product can be of two types, one is the test product, second is the reference product. Test product is the product that we are going to test and the reference product is to which we are comparing the our test products. This reference product is mentioned in the monograph or it is the standard products to whom we are comparing our test products. Okay. Now, next element is the dosage regimen. What is the dosage regimen? It is the manner in which drug dosage is taken. Okay. The frequency of dosing or the frequency of dose administration is the dosage regimen. Means how many times the drug is administered, at which time, after which interval of time the drug is drug should be administered to the subject, that should be specified, or we can say the dosage regimen should be specified. Next is the sample collection schedule, means कितने टाइम इंटरवल के बाद आपको सैंपल कलेक्ट करना है, किस स्टेज पे आपको सैंपल कलेक्ट करना है. ठीक है. आप कौन से रूट ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को फॉलो करोगे, ओरल रूट ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन को अगर फॉलो कर रहे हो तो आपको सैंपल कब लेना है, इफ़ यू आर गोइंग फॉर आईवी रूट ऑफ एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन देन आपको कब सैंपल लेना है. ठीक है. तो सैंपल कलेक्शन शेड्यूल भी आपका प्रॉपरली स्पेसिफाई होना चाहिए. नेक्स्ट इज द हाउसिंग और कन्फाइनमेंट, मीन्स जिस सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर आप बायो इक्विवेलेंट स्टडी कर रहे हो उस सब्जेक्ट को आपको कहाँ रखना है, उसका हाउसिंग कैसा होगा, उसका कन्फाइनमेंट कैसा होगा, उसको कैसी कंडीशंस प्रोवाइड की जाएंगी. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज द फास्टिंग और मील शेड्यूल, मीन्स आपको जो बायो इक्विवेलेंट स्टडी है वो फास्टिंग स्टेज पे कंडक्ट करानी है और आफ्टर मील आपको शेड्यूल करनी है, दैट शुड बी प्रॉपरली स्पेसिफाइड. नेक्स्ट इज द एनालिटिकल मैथड्स, मीन्स आप स्टडी कंडक्ट करा रहे हो उसके बाद आपको कौन कौन से एनालिटिकल मैथड्स यूज़ करने हैं, कौन कौन सी एनालिटिकल टेक्निक्स यूज़ करनी है. ठीक है. दैट शुड बी स्पेसिफाइड. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द स्टडी पॉपुलेशन, मीन्स आप कौन जिस पॉपुलेशन पे आप स्टडी कर रहे हो उसमें आपका सब्जेक्ट्स होगा. ठीक है. वो सब्जेक्ट्स आपके हेल्दी वॉलंटियर हो सकते हैं, आपके पेशेंट्स हो सकते हैं, आपके एनिमल स्टडी हो सकती है. तो जो भी सब्जेक्ट है उन सब्जेक्ट्स को आप कैसे सेलेक्ट कर रहे हो. द सब्जेक्ट सिलेक्शन कैन बी डन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ देयर मेडिकल हिस्ट्री, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ देयर फिजिकल एग्जामिनेशन और ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सर्टेन लेबोरेटरी टेस्ट. ओके. Next is the inclusion or exclusion criteria. Inclusion or exclusion criteria means on the basis of which the inclusion criteria is the criteria on the basis of which the particular subject has been included in the study or the particular patient has been included in the study. The exclusion criteria is the criteria on the basis of which the particular volunteer or the particular subject has to be excluded from the protocol or from the study. Next is the restrictions or the prohibitions, means the restrictions or prohibition means the particular protocol or the particular rules that that should be followed by the subject during the bioequivalence studies. Okay. Next is the clinical procedure. Clinical procedure includes the dosage and drug administration, the biological sampling schedule and the handling procedure or the activity of the subjects. Okay. So, in the clinical procedures, what dosage form should be given to the patient and what route of administration has to be followed. Okay. What is the sampling schedule? Either sample has to be collected after 1 hour, 2 hour or 15 minute, 30 minute, means what will be the schedule for the sampling, what will be the handling procedure, that should be specified. Okay. Next is the activity of the subjects. Okay. That also what type of activity the subjects can do, that should be mentioned. Next is the ethical consideration. Now, what about the ethical consideration? Ethical consideration includes some basic principles, institutional review board, informed consent, indications for subject withdrawal, adverse reactions and emergency procedures. Okay. So, basic principle means what is the basic principle of this study, either the consent from the institutional review board or permission from the institutional review board has been obtained or not, whether the consent from the volunteer or consent from the patient has been taken or not, that should be in the informed consent. Indication for subject withdrawal means what are the criteria on the basis of which the subject can withdraw from the study. And next is the adverse reaction and emergency procedure, means what type of adverse reaction can occurs during the study, during the conduction of study, and what can be the emergency procedure that can be opted in case of the emergency studies. Okay. Emergency cases. Next is the facilities, means what are the various facilities or what are the condition that should be provided to the subject or to the volunteers that are involved in the bioequivalence study design. Next is the data analysis. Now, how data can be analyzed? The data that is obtained from the subjects, that should be analyzed by analytical validation procedure or statistical treatment of data can be there. Next is the drug accountability. Now, on the basis of data analysis, the accountability of drug can be checked. Last is the appendix. The last element of bioequivalence study protocol is appendix. Okay. Now, about the bioequivalence study designs. See, the bioequivalence study can be designed in such a way that formulation effect can be distinguished from other effects. Okay. So, we can have two different methods. First is the standard BE study design. This is also known as non-replicate. Okay. Next is the alternate BE study design. This alternate BE study design can be categorized in parallel or replicate. Okay. So, first type of design is the standard BE study design. It is also known as the non-replicate. So, this standard BE study design or non-replicate design is the most common design in which two formulations are compared in the randomized manner in a 2 period 2 sequence single dose crossover design. Okay. And the order of drug administration will be crossover experiment, that is called as a sequence, and time for the treatment administration is called as a period. Okay. So, the treatment period should be separated by a washout period, that means sufficient to ensure that the drug concentration are below the lower limit of bioanalytical quantification in all the subjects before the beginning of the second period. So, in this normally at least 5 elimination half life should be necessary to achieve this standard BE study designs. Okay. Another is the alternate BE study design. So, under certain circumstances, the study design and the statistical analysis are scientifically sound. Alternate well established design can be considered, and these design can be the parallel design, the crossover design, the Latin square design, and this Latin square design can be further characterized in two-way crossover design, three-way crossover design, or four-way crossover design. Okay. The parallel designs are used for the drug substances which are having very long half life. The replicates design can be used for the drug substances that are having highly variable pharmacokinetic characterization, for example, lansoprazole. Okay. So, these are the different types of bioequivalence study design. Now, after this bioequivalence study design, what we have to do? After the conduction of bioequivalence study, we have to go for some statistical interpretation, and when the data has been collected, the statistical method must be applied to determine the level of significance, or we can say to determine the difference in the rate or extent of the absorption in order to establish the bioequivalence between the two or more drug product. Okay. So, basically what we are doing in the bioequivalence, we are comparing the rate and extent of drug absorption of two different products, or we are comparing the bioavailability of two different products. Okay. So, when we have to establish the bioequivalence between the two drug product, then we have to collect the rate data related to the rate and extent of drug absorption. So, when data has been collected, then we must go for the statistical analysis to identify or to calculate the level of significance between the data. Okay. So, we are having two approaches, two common approaches we can say for the statistical analysis or statistical interpretation. We can say first approach is the analysis of variance, that is the ANOVA. Second is the confidence interval approach. So, first approach is the ANOVA, that is a statistical procedure, and it is used to test data for the differences within and between the treatment and the control groups. Okay. So, a statistical difference between the pharmacokinetic parameter that is obtained from two or more drug product is considered significant if there is probability of less than 1 in 20, or we can say if value of p is less than or equal to 0.05, then we can say the data that is obtained from the analysis is significant. Okay. Now, next approach is the confidence interval approach. In the confidence interval approach, it is also called as two one-sided t-test procedure, and it is used to demonstrate if the bioavailability of the test product is too low or too high in comparison to the reference product. Okay. So, after the conduction of bioavailability study, we have to go for statistical interpretation, or we have to go for statistical analysis, and for the statistical analysis we are having two different approaches, that is analysis of variance ANOVA, that is used to calculate the significance among the data of two or more drug products, and if the p value of is less than or equal to 0.05, then we can say the data is significant. Okay. Next approach is the confidence interval approach, that is also called as the two one-sided test procedure, and it is used to determine the bioavailability of the test product. It is used to determine if the bioavailability of the test product is either too low or too high as compared to the reference product. Okay. So, this is all about the bioequivalence and the bioequivalence study design and its protocol and its statistical interpretation. Thank you.